And we're live with another episode of Weekly Mojo with your host, Madison Jessica. It's Thursday, April 3rd. We're in 2025, I guess. It's Q2 if you're celebrating the business calendar.
And happy true New Year to those of you that know and to those that don't.
Oh, this is not tasty.
It's just bubbly water with moringa and sour sop. You've been drinking my bubbly water, which is why I gave you one.
Okay.
I don't know what to say other than like the two of these. My cells feel more lively as a response to it. Sorry, Ruby. Your big brother's coming in hot. Jesus Christ. Go silly boy.
You added 3 more animals to our family this week, did you not?
Yeah, we did. Oh, should we go grab Huey, Dewey, and Louie? No, we'll let them hang out. They're brooding.
Under their incubator.
I can't even believe how little they are, and I didn't realize that like when you pick up ducks from Thank You Tractor Supply Company, they're only a few days old. I had no idea. It's been so long since I've been like
couldn't find any hens apparently.
I called 4 different Tractor Supply companies.
It's okay. I saw all over TikTok and Instagram that everywhere has shortages.
It's that. I mean, like we're all sick of paying $6 for a carton of eggs. One, we're there's an artificial bird flu going on. Whatever is going on, it's basically like, oh, fuck your egg prices. You thought you were going to have better egg prices in this administration? Ah, ha, ha. Not saying it's all combined, but it does seem very oddly timed.
Oh, you want to talk tariffs? Is that where you want to go? I mean, like,
did you see how they decided the tariffs ratio was literally like our exports versus imports, and that's what we decided that the ratio of the tariffs was going to be. And I'm like, you dumb fuck asses. I don't think you understand what's really going. It's just shoot yourself in the foot, shoot yourself in the hand. We're being gutted from the inside out, and then also not taking a look at the entire pot that's gouging everything from the inside out.
Right. I mean, like, until they abolish the personal income tax, they're just double dipping. Tariffs are supposed to replace the personal income tax. That's the whole point. It's like countries used to operate off of
fucking small businesses in the same fucking like breath. Because I'm like,
what do you mean? So tariffs in theory, right? Like, okay, so tariffs are going to cause a bunch of pain. But where are they going to cause a bunch of pain? Everywhere there's an import-reliant supply chain business. So if your company has exported your supply chain, this is going to go hilarious.
I can hear you also. So.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Yeah. So TLDR, every company that has exported their supply chain outside the United States is going to be hurting. Everyone who manufactures their goods or produces them at home benefits. Tariffs are supposed to incentivize investment in local manufacturing.
Yeah, but at the same time, like in a different breath, not tariffs related, but I'm almost positive that like there's been a lot of small business loans and grants to small businesses that are getting gutted in this whole like
the COVID
Doge
ones?
issue. Not the COVID ones, because Brett Favre taking some hundreds of thousands of dollars in relief funds for his own fucking pocket is not cool. Yeah. And everyone else that did it in the same fucking vein.
Right.
I hope you get the karma you deserve.
Absolutely. You should have to pay back. See, I told you it was going to happen.
Truth. It's fucking nuts to think about.
It's just getting lower each time.
Lower now. Yeah, well, the leg is broken, so that's why, obviously.
Thank you.
There we go.
We were shifting so far to the right.
CB Radio, who the fuck are we talking about today? I kind of can't even believe we're already at Kershaw. I am so excited.
We're done with the tariffs.
I'm sick of Muscolio and Trump.
Apparently, everyone's sick of Muscolio. Trump said he's on his way out of cabinet and decision making because he's so unpopular.
You can't spend $25 million and still can't buy your fucking way into Wisconsin when the average dollar spent is $2.94. Like, fuck you, dude. You will literally never buy popularity.
I'm not familiar with what you're talking about.
Somebody was, because he was recently looking to run for like a Senate court seat or whatever.
He was gonna run for it in Wisconsin?
Was doing that exactly.
With what sort of residency? Sorry, I'm looking for clarity here.
What?
This is news to me.
I didn't look into
the
logistics
buying the seat by sponsoring someone?
Literally, I think he was trying to sponsor himself.
Well, you usually have to. Okay.
I don't know. It's really like when the average cost or spent in a day from the average Wisconsinite is $2.94.
What do you mean? That's how much money they spend
on a daily average. Yeah, they're very like fiscally conservative. There's not a lot of money to be spent. They're like hardworking individuals in the majority of not
average
like,
or the median?
Like umbrella-ing anything, trying to. I understand the distinction. I believe it was written as the average, but the nuance really doesn't matter at the end of the fucking day.
It does.
He was attempting to buy a seat on some fucking court, $25 million to the tune of that, and couldn't fucking buy it at the end of it. Thank fucking God that the American people are able to finally like speak in that way, but like we as the people that are governed by the fucking Supreme Court, I should have the right to say who and who is not available to be on the Supreme Court. If you don't align with my interests, fuck you. It shouldn't be some presidential choice at the end of the day.
That's literally the constitutionally encoded powers of that branch.
I think sure, based on some fucking like white bodies that I never did. Like
document that founded the country that we're operating off of and hold in the highest regard in the country. Just saying.
Monarchy that we are disguised as. I don't know how else to fucking say it. That's how you maintain.
Constitutional republic. That's the name of the thing that you're calling.
It's a funny way of saying dictatorship under the
it's not
terms
a dictatorship.
Of a company
it is
and governmental like relations.
It is a compromise between a democracy and an oligarchy, which are both the most balanced versions of power that you can have that distribute basically the voice of the people between the interests of like basically the collective.
And yet things are gerrymandered. There are individuals that are assassinated on a daily basis. There is innovation that is stifled on like a constant. We will literally
because we have moved away from that system because we have corrupted that system. So we don't have the thing I described.
Not to the voice of the people.
The thing, but it's also not exclusively to the voice of the people. That's also how it's intended to operate.
Well,
but the problem is it's been because it has been corrupted to the point that the oligarchy rules independent of the people. And that is not the compromise that's intended to exist. It's because the lower house and the upper house and the executive branch and the judicial branch all only represent the upper class. Whereas in the intended purpose, much like in Britain, there's the House of the Lords and the House of the Commons, which no longer really represents the commons or the average people, And at the same time,
who does it represent then?
Again, wealthy privilege everywhere. Everywhere is just wealthy privilege.
Okay, just the aspirations for it.
And like even when there's examples of self-made success, AOC, the bartender out of New York, right? Their success is manufactured by the party because the moment they decide your story is worth it, you now have all the funds, resources, and people at your disposal to mobilize. Politics is, like everyone says, it's a sham. It's a show. It's kind of just a display between the upper classes, divisional, how to handle the poor people, like arguments, basically, in public.
Sure. Don't disagree. I mean, at the end of the day, Greta Thunberg has been doing some of the most incredible work. And as soon as she basically like put together that corporation self-interest and political gain and lobbying for, because you have endless resources to, are all connected, and that everything could be resolved as far as working in harmony with the globe and the resources that we have at our disposal. And yet she's nowhere to be seen in the media anymore.
No,
she's bringing all of these connections together and aware of it all, and it's not like she's not speaking out loud and continuing work. It's just she's no longer the face that is able to be controlled.
Specific reason she came out in support of Palestine.
Again, in a lot of different capacities, if you're not aligned with the main arc of the media, then you will never see the voice of the common people. Won't hear your voice.
Yeah, you will not be on the mainstream media being amplified if you are not a part of the mainstream narrative.
And if you do get to the point where you're able to outstand the mainstream media and speak and be seen by others and all, there's a very high likelihood that you're probably murdered as a response to it, like Martin Luther King Jr. And then they just silence it for 50 years and then they go, oops, sorry.
Well, they also whitewash your memory and say, like, here's how we retell
your photos in black and white, while it was literally in the 60s when we had all of these, like, we had photos in color, and you're choosing to do it in black and white to distance yourselves from the disgusting behavior that you guys choose and chose and continue to choose to uphold in different ways.
Sure, there's that. And then there's also just the fact that because so many people were touched by the movement at the time, as you move further away and there becomes a mainstream narrative to be remembered, you can warp people's memory and perspective to support and reinforce certain narratives that you want reinforced from the message, and you can downplay others. Like Martin Luther King was far more of a radical, Martin Luther King Jr. was far more of a radical than he is remembered for.
Right, because they whitewash the narrative so that Malcolm X looks like the bad guy, when in reality they were both.
They need a bad guy and a good guy, and they were on the same side advocating
media,
for whatever
controlling the narrative. Once again, when you're like thinking down to it, what the fuck are we doing here?
Also, there was the Christian Islamophobia divide. There's always the divide.
There's always like them versus us, instead of seeing the people at what it is at the bottom of it, the root of it. Not getting to the root cause, getting back to like the good energy book that I fucking love. Thank you, Kelly Means and Casey Means, for gifting us this.
And my mom for gifting
and us. And also Debbie and Chuck for gifting us the book, truly, because it has been my like top recommendation to everyone that I interact with recently.
Yeah, so that's a recommendation corner of the week is good energy.
Wild.
Yeah, the TLDR there is that a Stanford graduate, postdoc, whatever, they were deep into their medical career at this point. They were specializing intensely, decide to drop out of the entire system to pursue basically non-traditional forms of healthcare, because their perspective was the healthcare system is a sick care system, which is what you always hear. And the crux of the issue is that most things are mismanaged sugar intake, and the fact that we encourage as much sugar that we do, and you're not always thinking about sugar the way you should be, because
all bread
is sugar. All bread is sugar.
Flour is not free, like seasoning. That is not. So
the base of the food pyramid and the top of the food pyramid are both sugar, and basically you're eating too much sugar, and we've never eaten this much sugar as a society, and we're all fucking having itises from it.
South Park did it best. If you could look at the pyramid and flip it upside down, this is basically what got us fucked over in the first place, is the breads are supposed to be at the very top, and
but the sugars are at the very top.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Will you please look it up and stop arguing with me?
I will show you.
The South Park thing, the sugar's at the top, I hear you, but it's like the fat is what they're also associated with. And I'm like, no, fat is supposed to be the building block. If you think about this, the building blocks of your body are fat and protein. Anything else does not make sense, does not compute. Sugar, carbs, all useful resources in moderation. See?
No, it's fat, oils, and sweets. They mix sugars and fats together to confuse you. Like
Connor, see?
Look, let me pull it up on screen for people. But they can't intermingle those two things. Those are different things.
I can't. When did the pyramid? I think it was the 1980s when the food pyramid
I believe it was the 90s.
Or the 90s.
It was for our generation, Maddie.
Literally fucked over.
94, baby.
Such a huge.
I love Kool-Aid. Specifically blue Kool-Aid. I drink the blue Kool-Aid.
They're literally trying to actively defund PBS, which Dragon Tales and Arthur and Cyber Chase were my entire life. And Reading Rainbow was.
Are they gonna sell off the brand assets? I want to buy that IP.
I would love to.
I should put it on chain.
Reading Rainbow was removed from television because of No Child Left Behind. Because there was not enough funding for people to enjoy reading.
That's like when San Francisco got rid of algebra in middle school because it was racist.
I wonder why they're choosing to remove the ability to think and like compute for yourself.
Because AI can do it for you, duh.
Right, because we don't need to be like able to process our own feelings.
You shouldn't
and
think
emotions.
for yourself. Why would you think for
Just
yourself?
Get a lobotomy. It'll be easier.
All right, here's the food pyramid. The OG food pyramid. That's what I Googled. Wikipedia brought it up for me.
This is fucking insane.
Fats, oils, which are fats by another name, and sweets, which are sugars, right? And then you've got bread, which is sugar. You've got cereal, which is sugar. You've got rice, which is sugar. And you've got pasta, which is sugar.
Yep.
And then you've got fruits, which are sugar.
Sugar.
Wild. And then you go over here and you start to get some fiber and some sugar because carbohydrates are still sugar and they have carbohydrates. So technically vegetables are also sugar. But like, let's be clear here. These middle sugars are the best sugars for you, and technically these are the sugars.
The building blocks that should be the basics.
Yeah, well, they should
cut off the bottom.
Yeah, well, yeah. So cut off the bread, and also technically fats and oils because they're differentiating them from the milk, yogurt, cheese, which are also all just fat. Milk, fat, yogurt, fat, cheese, fat. Now, granted, there's more benefits here because there's probiotics and there's other things that are good for you, like vitamins and shit. And whatever,
but we
not in our
everything.
Yeah, not in our food system. But they're all fats, just the way that oils are fats and fats are fats. So then you go over here to meat, which is protein, and you've got protein and fat, 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 protein and fat. Okay, and that's what meats are: protein and fat. And then you've got basically no meats, but still, fatty proteins.
There's some carbs in milk. There's carbs in cheese. There's carbs in just about everything, guys. So you do not need more carbs.
Yeah.
In the individual, like that whole bottom shelf doesn't need to exist, and you are better off as a response of it. But like, it's crazy how many things we have. These are
the 4 pieces of the pyramid. I can't even talk. 4 pieces of the pyramid to care about. And then sometimes it's okay to add a little bit of this.
Enjoy.
It's pretty much never okay to add this because the way that they're writing this is basically everything from your cupboard made by Big Food that is made with chemicals. Because they're like, this is naturally occurring and sometimes added, and these are definitely added. And it's like, this is clearly the junk food piece of the pyramid. And it's like, technically, you should never be eating this. You should take these guys and make your own version of junk food, like a cake or some other kind of pastry, like marshmallow or some chocolate shit.
Yeah,
cookies.
Did you guys know that marshmallows used to have like actual benefits on soothing throats using marshmallow root?
Yeah, they were a form of medicine.
And you can actually... It's not that difficult to whip up marshmallows that are fresh, but it's like you have to think about the food that we're consuming is the fuel to your cells in your body in every way, shape, or form. And that's not to say that you can't enjoy food in whatever way, shape, or form you do. But like, it's thinking about what goes in is definitely making an impact on all of the things on the inside and out.
Yeah. And that's what good energy is all about, since that was the rabbit hole that brought us here.
Eat your collagen. Don't inject it. Don't put Botox in your face. Do whatever you want to, but think about this, guys. Like, we're trying to the whole like treat your body like a temple. You know, it could be not giving yourself tattoos, but at the same time, I'm like, the Sistine Chapel is painted, and everyone flocks to it. So
God says, don't be ignorant of where your food comes from.
I think it gets down to that, knowing the single source, appreciating what we have gifted to us, and making the most of it, because we shouldn't be living in such a wasteful way.
Yeah, I mean, really, like, because, I mean, how much shit just sits in your shelf in a closet somewhere?
It's a decent amount.
Yeah, I love my shit in the closet, and I like it when I use it every now and then, but how much do I really need most of it? Almost never.
Interesting things to ponder. Till that one time you need it, and then you're like, well, shit, I'm glad I had it.
Exactly.
Okay, to go back to the Muscolio, not to linger too much on it, but like, I'd love to stop calling him the supposed richest man in the world, because he's not. I think he just keeps saying that, and I'm like, you don't even spend $3,000 a month on your child support. Like, ew, gross.
He's paying $500,000 a year, according to him.
For maybe lawyer fees is what he's including that, because I can't imagine that Muscolio is going to spend more than he has to, and that just shows in all of the.
I'm not even getting a paternity test with Ashley Sinclair. I just cut her a check, and then she's getting this every year. I don't even care.
He attempted to pump $20 million to buy the Wisconsin Supreme Court seat.
Why? Oh my God.
So
what is going on in Wisconsin that he needs to buy the Supreme Court seat?
Well, we saw what happened with the 2020 election, and how the graph basically magically jumped up on top of Trump's like supposed win, and then just like leveled out. I mean, we could be done with this Trump thing already.
His election got the Biden bump?
No, I'm just saying that's what's happening in Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a giant swing state that basically has a lot of things. I don't know what's going on underneath the hood. I should hope it's not something nefarious.
Wisconsin corruption. That's my home state, baby.
The 2020 election is tied to that very infamous graph. If we want to pull it up, we'll have to go it on Yandex.
The Biden bump?
Yeah, I want to see it. We have to do it on Yandex because Google doesn't show it. Should very much make note of that.
Let's find out if Google shows it or not.
I've done this so many times at this point, I can tell you for sure, but like, I would love to see Google, show some actual face and not just be bought in the same way that every other oligarchical company that's public is. It's not that one. It was more of a red curve. I think it was probably an average.
Okay,
I think it's this one here. But that doesn't look. That's Michigan also.
This also looks super suspicious. Yeah. Here's the Wisconsin one, by the way.
Yeah, I was like, is that
this 2020? Is so suspicious.
And so here. That's where I'm like, okay. You can say
that's like a straight line.
We have a choice in this world, but at the same time, I didn't choose either of them initially, and it just feels artificially inseminated in the same like continuation.
It's very clear that Biden should have like leveled off like this.
Right. That's how statistics goes. It doesn't magically, because look at it was even
just enough.
They literally
then they had to go up again.
Misinterpreted. They're like, fuck. There's still more coming in. Then they did a double jump. Oh my fucking god! Right. I can't even believe you.
And they did it in Michigan too. Like obviously it doesn't everywhere. So
and not to say that he deserved it, but I'm like, oh, it would be nice to be done with this right now, but we're not, because y'all decided to continue to manipulate the situation allegedly. until like proven otherwise, which, you know, find me in 50 years when I'm right. Anyway, this bad bitch isn't even around the US, so I don't know why we're like looping all of the US politics into this shithole.
Oh, because politics and money are intertwined, and she is clearly money.
Everywhere. I love bitch. I'm so excited to talk about this bad bitch. Kershell has
Ka-chow.
One
Lightning
of
McQueen.
The coolest little stories. She started a women's only club that allowed for basically just like women to come in and enjoy their time and not worry about their drinks because they're just in good company with other good faith women. That all being said, some jackass thought that he was going to be reverse misogynistic and basically was like, you have to let me in. This is equal rights. And she's like, no. And then he took her to court and she fucking beat his ass. So, in celebration, I wanted to paint homage to her success and for the security that she is looking to bring to her clubs and collaborations with all women and individuals that are supportive. Really just like so fucking cool. Love her extra dirty martini. And she's gracing my dining room and I hope she never leaves. Unless she wants this piece, that I can understand why you would, and you know, it's all you, babe. Are you spelling her name right?
I did in my initial put in.
Cause yeah, I don't know why it would.
I mean, unless I have two L's and there's only one L.
No, there's two L, or there is one L. It's only one L.
But did it get it right? Cause it.
No, she's a Australian.
Yeah.
Let me write or go to like my write up.
Okay, this is a different person.
So that's her.
Oh, well,
no, that is Kershaw.
Okay, well, it told a very different story about her, and yeah, she's from California.
Oh, I thought she was doing this in Australia, but
maybe.
Well,
okay, so she could be, but she was raised in Guam, Micronesia, and Japan, which is out there in the Pacific. So do you want to tell her story since it got it right, seemingly?
So it did?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What I have on my little like synopsis is opened and operates a club exclusively for women despite men trying to force their way in via courts to no avail.
All right, well, here's her full story.
Hell yeah. Are you...
She's an artist.
Alex or Jordan?
You tell me.
You can be Alex.
All right, so this is The Art of Beautiful Problems, a conversation about Kirsha Kachel. Did you hear about the artist who turned abandoned houses into art installations and staged the largest gun buyback in New Orleans history?
What? Oh my God, what a story. Girl, I am so curious. But yeah, you mean Kersha Kershell? I hope I'm saying that right. I just read about her, born in Topanga Canyon, California in 1975 or 1976, but raised in Guam, Micronesia, and Japan. Her life story reads like an adventure novel. Oh, these are the bad bitches that have like the coolest little like histories.
Absolutely, and her background is so fascinating. Her father was a retired Rand Corporation aerospace engineer who became a rolfer, and her mother was a painter. I heard she once described her mom as wild-minded sex bomb painter and said all the characters I play are based on her.
Fascinating. Well, that explains a lot. She mentioned in an interview that she embraced being different from an early age. God bless it. Being the only white girl in a Catholic school in Guam meant she never fit in, so she repackaged that difference as a gift. which that's exactly the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Before young age to be able to understand that too, which is cool.
Yeah, that's why it's nice to travel. It's a privilege. Before becoming a renowned curator, she took quite an unconventional path. In 1994, that's my year, she began what she called an informal education, LOL, traveling overland to more than 50 countries in a 7-year period.
Damn, girl.
She described it as a hands-on investigation of the idea that life designs itself.
So if we're doing the math on that, she was 18. 76 to 94. That's cool. That really does check out.
And she went to just find herself till she was 25. So much privilege, though.
No, truly, like to be able to afford that.
Well, her dad was a Rand aerospace engineer, so it makes sense.
She described it as hands-on investigation of the idea of life designs itself. I just wanted to reiterate that because I like the life designs itself.
Claude is a fantastic writer.
It's not bad. I've been enjoying. Fuck ChatGPT. Who? During those travels, she connected with some incredible thinkers, chemist Albert Hoffman, the writers Tom Robbins and John C. Lilly, and musician Mike Watt. Talk about an education. I think that's honestly the privilege of being able to travel and be able to experience those conversations that you wouldn't otherwise luck into. Sorry, I want to get into this here, but Coco, my sister, was just like, hey, I saw this travel journal idea where they like brought journals and then had people write advice. And I'm like, that is such a great way of engaging in conversation and also get like pieces of advice from world and life and take it with you. I'm like, that's so cool. We should definitely do that.
Yeah,
I love the idea. So anyway, back to it.
Then in 1995, she started curating large-scale site-specific installation art with musician Perry Farrell in Los Angeles, even working on the first Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival, which is insane to be working on the first Coachella is way different than going or working on Coachella today. Because Coachella today kind of sucks, I guess.
It's very manufactured, but she basically made it what it was from back in the day. And she only traveled for a year to find herself. From 94 to 95.
Unless she was traveling with her family countries. From 11 to 18.
Well, sure.
And I mean, that was how it says in a 7-year period.
Oh, okay.
So maybe she was talking about her life from 11 to 18. You know, or maybe it was 12 to 19.
50 countries. Well, honestly, like, it's cool that you were able to do that within your family dynamic. And explore.
And anyways, you worked on the first Coachella. Like, Coachella is big and amazing now because it had to start somewhere and become cool.
Probably because of this fucking bad bitch.
It takes people contributing. Anyways, that's here's the next part.
All right, but it was New Orleans that really shaped her career. Wasn't it? In 2000, she moved there and joined the downtown art scene, collaborating with artists on performance projects, and even became a backup dancer for musicians like Quintron and Miss Pussycat. I don't know who Quintron is, but Miss Pussycat's cool.
Yes, and she even was a member of the 9th Ward Marching Band. But her most significant project came in 2006 when she founded the Life is Art Foundation and KK Project.
I'm so happy. It makes sense with her initials. It would be the KK Projects.
It's tough when you've got that. Hopefully she doesn't have a third strike to her name.
Yeah, I'd love to know what the
if we're talking baseball here. One more strike and you're out.
That's so funny. Oh, I was loving to,
especially down south.
The ability to share Jackie Mitchell, like, shout out to whatever episode that was, to your family in Michigan, because everybody was loving this little 16-year-old baddie that struck out Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig's, two fucking giant names that we definitely know. Only to know that this Betty didn't get her limelight because some jackass was insecure about his fucking position. And now we have, Sports Center. The MLB allows for like variance within the equipment that you use. And so right now the hot conversation is I think the Yankees came out with their own special bat that's now the home run hitter. And it's like a fucking torpedo of a machine, and they're able to get away with it. So
it's a torpedo, like a big barrel.
Yeah, it's a big boy.
It's a big barrel. No, that's like
it's like cheating.
No,
it's
that's
like
the Mark McGwire. Like, oh my god.
Sure, you do it. And then the Houston Astros, as a response to this, they're like, okay, we're going to come out with a baseball that's 4.5 ounces instead of 5 ounces because we can have leeway in it because these fucking rules weren't written since 1932 is when this shit was first written, or some dumb ass shit like that, 100 years ago. Because baseballs are now... I'm like, this is so silly.
This is now the official baseball bat of the MLB.
Of just the Yankees.
Well, sure. But it's just the Mark McGwire Nerf voltage or vantage or whatever the fuck big bat. And this was the most fun thing to play backyard baseball with because you could just smack homers with it because it had the big barrel and it was pressurized air on the inside. So it was super light, super thin.
We have the yellow version of this.
Yeah, they have an orange one too.
Nice.
But anyways, this thing is the fucking bomb, and it sounds like this is what the Yankees built.
Basically, I'm not joking. It's like a silver version of this. It's crazy. Did you know MLB fields, like the squares, the diamond's the same, but like the outfield could be any fucking number, and there is literally no regulation on it?
Yeah. Then you know that they're like... You know that it doesn't even have to be square. You know, it could be like a pentagon. It could be like multiple like kind of weird shapes out there in the outfield. You can have the...
What in the Benchwarmers ass shit is this?
You can have the center of the infield be closer than the like sides of the outfield. Or I guess the center of the outfield be closer than the outs of the outfield. It doesn't have to be equal.
Move the KC Royal Stadium to Washington Park down near Union Station. I think it would be a very advantageous...
We're property owners that would benefit from that. That's why.
Sure, we would be a couple blocks away from would be great. But the reality is everybody loves a downtown stadium. The walkability
coming from Detroit, I totally
downtown to Midtown.
Minnesota's pretty awesome too.
With having a metro line that goes right near where you need to. With all of the accessible parking at Union Station and beyond, plus having tailgate ability, it like the World War I green space, I think there's a lot of upside that everyone who's not seeing a concrete parking lot are failing to register and neglect. And like, listen, stay in suburbia. I don't fucking care. You're not going to the games anyway.
I mean, they are going to the games.
For though like 1-2 games, sure, but you're not like you're just doing it for the parking lot. And if you can recognize that there's parking spaces,
there's so many season ticket
you can
holders.
just
probably this is more of a Chiefs comment than it is a Royals comment.
The Chiefs are probably going to be large enough. I don't know where the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are just staying out there. Yeah. I just think that's disadvantage to themselves. But whatever, that's their own play space that they want to create.
In Detroit for the Lions
do a metro
so
line out there.
Much fun, but that's my personal take.
It's just a matter of like, do you have access to food and like the ability to spend an entire day?
Right.
You don't have it at a KC Chiefs game, but you do have it, the capacity here in like downtown Midtown.
All I'm saying is there was a time when the Lions and the Pistons, they all played out in Pontiac and Auburn Hills. And as a city, we rejoice because they're downtown for that
where
very
life
reason.
Exists. Nobody's fucking driving 45 minutes into the middle of suburbia.
No, they did.
Yeah, but like not
many. Like they do now.
It's why they have the Flint Tropics fucking joke of a movie, you know?
Well, Flint, that's kind of a really painful story on so many levels.
I know,
Flint
it's not
was
Flint's
a city the size of Detroit, maybe larger at one point.
That's crazy.
And it is obviously so
full
tiny
circle on basically manufacturing being offloaded to
You want to go tariffs again?
I was like, wow, that's a full circle, huh? Seems like it.
All right, so if we're talking where to go risk on, if we're going full circle here for a second, anything that starts to support industrial supply chain and local manufacturing,
we're really onto something
is
here.
where you want to be positioned, because if we can take this administration at its word, fuck Elon Musk. Obviously, we can't take this administration at the word, but let's say economically we do for the minute, because they've been pretty transparent about.
To
sure, but that's also been the part they've been most transparent about.
They've been transparent about the things they want to be transparent about.
Sure, whatever. They've been clear about
this. Jeffrey Epstein's list and every fucker on it.
Absolutely, anyway. That's not. Anyways, you're spot on. I want that too. I want the DoD budgets cut like I was promised. Anyways. Regardless, I will be taking parts of what I'm getting, because that's all I've got. And we can't do get off Mark McGuire. Fuck that steroid douchebag.
Totally.
I loved his baseball bat as a kid, is all I can say. It's Nerf's baseball bat, though. But Trump's not going to reverse on tariffs. It's going to be really hard for any future administration to reverse on tariffs. If he does manage to abolish the IRS and the personal income tax and transition the funding of the government from basically resident, like
middle to low, like middle in class taxes is really all it is, because everyone else has figured out how to not pay taxes, which is fucking crazy.
Right. Well, so basically it'd be taxing all the ports, and everything that's being imported is being taxed. So if you're a business whose business is importing and reselling, or importing and using parts to build something to then sell, then your business has higher margins. If your business sources all of its materials locally, if it's built and manufactured locally, or if it's a service-based business like most U.S. businesses are, then you're probably not going to be affected by this, unless they start putting import taxes on those things. But they generally don't import tax on services. There's a whole different weird thing that goes on with white collar work. I barely understand it. I need to hire someone to handle it. I technically have a software provider now that does that through HR stuff automatically for me. TLDR is that paying people internationally is tough, because governments make things tough, because they don't like the flexibility of being able to just one click blockchain, giving equity, exchanging equity for work and projects and time, because they are no longer a part of facilitating that. And I think by the government, we really mean banks that are controlling the whole narrative in this situation, allegedly. But there's also this, Maddie, like within the government, we have different departments that are charging each other an arm and a leg for insanely overpriced work that is being done 7 different times. And those are very real things. Government dollars being passed around, sloshed around really irresponsibly, because we have no visibility onto that. Mm-hmm. And all the systems are archaic, and we're not maintaining them, we're not upgrading them, and they're falling apart on us. So there's so many things that are all happening at the same time. But the one thing we can know for certain is that things are going to move to nearshoring, to onshoring, to things that support local manufacturing, locally made goods. And if we believe and accept that to be true, people who invest in those things, whether it's the production of raw materials and the refinery of them here locally, whether it's the assembly and manufacturing of new goods, whether it's getting into 3D printing and other type of source manufacturing.
I hope this brings us to the artistry and the craftsman era that we deserve to come back to, in the renaissance, so to speak, of that.
In a way, we have to.
Yeah.
It's not really a choice. It's rather people are going to have their time back, because companies are going to shed dead weight because they don't want to burn it holding salaries that they know don't do anything.
Not considered dead weight. I think that's like a shitty term, but it's basically
a lot of white collar is dead weight.
I think there's some of that. I think there's a lot of incentive towards misallocation of resources, and just saying that you have a certain number of heads underneath you makes you more powerful is not something that is standing any further. So
yeah, middlemen are dead weight for sure.
It doesn't mean that you are
if you're a middleman, you're probably dead weight. I stand behind that. I'm sorry, if your entire job is to not add value and to
If you're
sit between me and
micromanaging
something else,
because
then
you
no, you're dead
can't
weight.
do anything else for yourself, then like stop being the fucking
I will.
slithering on the salaries of everyone else.
Sure.
Just like take the succubus leech ass attitude and run.
That's what's wrong with the economy
I don't
everywhere, whether it's
disagree.
in politics, whether it's in private, or
Tough
whether it's large public
'cause
companies, it's everywhere.
within this gutting of everything and all of the like
Good people will be hurt.
natural resource protectors and like forestry individuals that, you know, were very much a part of all of the
Things will get rebuilt.
Yeah.
We will build back better, as the slogan were.
I really wonder what Teddy Roosevelt would see and feel about all of the like
The trust
shedding of
buster?
it all. Right. I'm just like, it seems like it's so misaligned with what he stood for, but whatever. We'll see how things work out.
In some ways, it's very much what he stood for. In other ways, it's not.
He
Like
broke up monopolies in a lot of ways. He was the one that created all of the jobs in our national parks. Was it to feed souls to whatever things are hiding in those national parks? I don't know. That might be a little tinfoil hatty, but I do think that there's got to be something to that. And there's a lot of people that go missing in those areas, and there's a lot of cave systems that are responsible in those same areas too.
Look, ultimately, I feel confident that a lot of those things will come back on the other side of cleaning house. Like, I think they're basically doing a hard cut back, seeing what falls off and what's breaking down so that they can restaff accordingly after the fact. That is what I know. People who hate the idea of running the government like a company are against this, right? But it's still a playbook that you know exactly what they're following and how it's going to go. Corporate raiders have been doing it for 50 years. This is no mystery.
Yeah, but
it's
every
like
time
they're
they buy in.
But the difference here is
Red
that there
Robins,
is,
for instance, or the Red Lobsters, for instance, they gut them for their fucking bricks and mortars so that they can put their dumb ass shit in it and get rid of the quality.
Right. So technically speaking, because of the way incentives are aligned here, they can't do that part of it. That's what I was trying to say. That yes, there is a distinction between the way that most private equity, especially today, is going about restructuring and rebuilding these companies, and what I'm talking about, what they're doing, which is more akin to like maybe a 1980s private equity, but maybe less of the corporate raider and more of the conglomerate style, in the sense where basically when GE goes through a big layoff cycle, they over prune in a lot of places to make their best employees be stretched to the max so that they can
see how much they
capture
can
that.
get out of them.
And then they restaff where they need to because they figured out where the thing breaks down and how they can operate more efficiently in that capacity. And so that's how a large public corporation tends to do things. And I think that's how we can interpret this administration is going about things, with a very Jack Welchian mindset, which is like, fine, whatever. Like, it's very boomery, and the government has so much bloat that that's the exact type of organization where shaking a tree for workforce like inefficiency like that really is going to work great, because that's the type of system that's built to be shaken like this, to be restructured. Unfortunately, for all the employees that are going to be shaken out of the fucking tree, it hurts being smacked to the ground. And there's a lot of branches you're hitting on the way there. And this is talking about federal employees. So it's like teaching people in a lot of ways not to trust the government and what they promise you, because the government can very quickly change their mind. And the reality is we should never forget that. And the history of the government is against the people and for the concept of the people, not actually for the people's individual freedoms. For the
establishment built onto the people's back.
Right. For the continuation of the corporation that is the United States of America and what it represents, not the people that it represents.
Yes, do not get it twisted.
We are the employees of the corporation.
Together.
Or I think technically we're the assets. We might be liabilities. We might be assets. I forget how we're classified.
I don't know, they have that like one show that was canceled on Netflix that was basically when we're born, the government creates a birth certificate based on you, and that's basically a debt to the
you're bonded.
The government for the entirety of your life, where everything is
you get a social security number, and then they also can basically then see as you obtain an education and take out loans. There are a bunch more things associated that determine your individual worth as an individual. And it's something to the order of millions of dollars.
It's really crazy how much they're able to contextualize how much we're worth to them, and yet refuse to give us any payments that they're extracting from us in the very basic form of like a universal basic income for our name, image, and likeness, and all the skill sets we amass, and they want to get access to.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's that fucking hard.
It's because we incorporate ourselves as a with a covenant to their organization when we sign the certificate of life.
So this is what basically going back to that is your social security number becomes your own business number.
Technically, your social security number is a public key that they're assigning you.
Right.
You have another internal key number we don't really understand.
Sure, I'm not surprised by that. There's like basically turning your social security into an EIN number so that you can be operating as your own business is what I've seen is people doing it. Interesting.
So you can get a taxpayer identification number, which is a new type, it's like if your social security number has been burned for a bad credit score and you want to start fresh, you can go get yourself a new taxpayer identification number.
That's got to be such a pain in the ass.
Which is called the TIN. Yeah. Or
I don't think you can provide enough proof of papers from an address perspective.
Right. Or it's easier probably, and this is what most people likely do, is to go open an LLC and then get an EIN number, which is an entity identification number, which then identifies your LLC. And then they take that EIN to get a Duns and Brad number, which is a credit score for that company. And then they take out credit in the name of the business entity. And this is usually only after they've basically used all their family members' identities and taking out credit in those names. Because there's lots of people who do that, and you should not do that. That's very disgusting. To ruin your children's credit. No, I'm clarifying.
Yeah.
But like people literally do this, but this is what people do in those situations to get access to credit.
This is literally why they have more children, is to get access to more lines of credit in some capacities, and that's really scary to think about.
Plus you get the tax refund per child per year.
Yeah, well, but oh my God! Do you
Which
know
goes a lot further in rural places.
The cost of like having a child, the $215,000 or whatever, $280,000 that they say it is for the 18 years. That's a statistic from 2013.
Mm-hmm.
That is only a mere decade and a half away. I can't even. They won't show you the updated numbers because then we wouldn't have a fucking. Another generation.
I tried to calculate how much was going to be put into me by the time I was done at around that time, and it was about $2 million for me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm still doing work. Oh, so funny.
I've been an expensive problem to fix, is what I'm hearing.
We are all responsible for the energies we put into systems.
I'm grateful for the energy that's been put into me. I feel so well prepared for life because of it.
That's good to have. Ultimately, there's nothing in life that's going to prepare you enough for the difficulties that life puts in your purview, and life is going to put hard things in your purview before things get better. Things fall apart before they fall into place, and that comes in many different forms.
My life's been falling apart for years now.
I think we are just all products of making the most of our situations and wanting to put better into this world.
Sure hope so.
That's all we can do. Suppose we should get back to the show, huh?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, this was an eclectic conversation in the same way that her journey was eclectic and all over the place. In the way that only an ELB really could. I feel like this is a very relatable piece for so many reasons.
For sure. I am Miss Jordan here. So, those KK projects, that's where she invited local and international artists to create a site specific installations in 5 deteriorating houses. She purchased in, oh, that's all one sentence. In 5 deteriorating houses she purchased in St. Roch neighborhood of New Orleans. The project featured works from emerging artists alongside establishing names like Tony Oursler, Mel Chin, Keith Saunier, and even Robert Rauschenberg. Hopefully I did an okay job on those.
I read an interview where she talked about her curatorial approach. When asked about imposing curatorial authority, she said, "Sometimes I try very hard to impose a curatorial authority, but that generally ends in disaster."
Oh, you can't control situations. That's very true. Sounds like her. She's known for her unconventional approaches, like in 2015 when she returned to New Orleans to stage a gun buyback as a conceptual artwork during the New Orleans Biennial Prospect 3. It became the largest gun buyback in New Orleans history.
Her work often provokes, doesn't it? Like her 2019 exhibition, Eat the Problem, which included a cookbook with recipes made from invasive species, from cats to crispy skinned cane toads.
I am so intrigued by so much of this stuff, and that is something that I am disgusted by and also intrigued by. God damn it, she knows what she's doing. Her life took another turn when she moved to Tasmania, where she's now a curator at Mona, the Museum of Old and New Art, and in March of 2014, she married the art collector and professional gambler David Walsh. They have a child named Sunday Walsh.
Alex. Oh, nice. I said my name a lot. At Mona, she's initiated some incredible projects like 24 Carat, creating kitchen gardens in disadvantaged areas of Tasmania, New Orleans, and Heavy Metal, an art science project focused on mercury contamination in Tasmania's River Derwent.
Kitchen gardens is cool. I like that. There's a lot of green in her painting. I didn't know. I love how she approaches complex problems as a medium for her art. Her problems aren't just about aesthetics, they're interventions that address real world issues with creative ways.
She once declared that aesthetics are a social justice issue, which seems to guide her work with Material Institute, a nonprofit social project reaching from Tasmania to New Orleans, seeking to create a better and more beautiful world.
Her career shows that art doesn't have to be confined to galleries or museums. It can be a powerful force to community engagement and environmental activism. Doesn't sound like we're getting to the project that I wanted to talk about, so we might have to follow up with Claude.
Exactly. In a world of specialists, Krisha Karshel reminds us that sometimes the most innovative solutions come from crossing boundaries and embracing the unexpected. A perfect ending to our conversation. I think that captures the essence of her work, finding beauty and possibility in most challenging places. So we can follow up on the social question.
Definitely.
All right. I've heard she started a bar.
A women's only bar.
Women's only bar. Where?
Can you tell me about the case that she won as a result of her. You making biscuits? Yeah.
Okay.
We just want squares.
The Art of Beautiful Problems, a conversation about Kirsha Kachel continued. What about that women-only space she created at Mona, the ladies' lounge?
Ooh, okay. So that was at Mona. Nice.
It caused quite a stir.
Certainly did. In 2020, okay, Kachel opened the ladies' lounge as an opulent women-only installation at Mona. It's emerald green oasis hung with silk curtains featuring a Murano crystal chandelier and what she initially claimed were previous works of art by Picasso and Sidney Nolan.
The concept sounds amazing.
Yeah, no, seriously, I'm so game. I love it.
Visitors can enjoy high tea served by male butlers, sip 400-year-old wines, and savor what she called preposterous morsels prepared by the museum's executive chef, but no men allowed beyond those silk green curtains.
According to Kachel, the lounge was created to address inequality, providing a place for women to retreat to escape the patriarchy and to enjoy the company of each other. The only men permitted inside were the butlers who, in her words, lived to serve women.
It was actually a reference to historic gentlemen's clubs that barred women from entering. Kachel flipped the script to highlight the historical exclusion women have faced. The ladies' lounge was established as a social setting in memory of her great-grandmother, a socialite who threw high tea at the estates in Beverly Hills in Basel.
Yeah, they had to host their own because ultimately they weren't allowed in a lot of the spaces, which, you know, classic in a lot of different minority senses. That sucks. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
And then a visitor from so this is the this is the Australian connection. Okay. But then a visitor from New South Wales named Jason Lau came to Mona in April 2023, and he was denied entry to the lounge because of his gender. He filed a complaint with the Tasmania's Anti-Discrimination Commissioner claiming gender discrimination.
I'll argue that it was discriminatory to keep artwork like Picasso paintings displayed exclusively in the ladies' lounge away from him and other men who paid the same entrance fee.
Okay. Kachel had a fascinating response to the lawsuit. She said, I side with Mr. Lau and acknowledge that his description of loss is indeed substantial. God, she's good. Kill him with kindness. But she maintained that rejection of men was a very important part of the artwork. She even said that to equalize the injustices women have experienced, they should not only be given equal rights, but also special privileges for the next 300 years. God, this is such a bad bitch. I'm so happy to be having this conversation.
The tribunal hearing itself became part of her performance art. Kachel arrived at the courtroom alongside 25 women dressed in navy business attire, pearls, and red lipstick. Throughout the proceedings, they silently read feminist literature and executed synchronized choreographed movements like crossing their legs or applying lipstick in unison.
That's good. Oh my God, I need to see videos of this. I need the movie for this. Reese Witherspoon, please, for the love of God. Oh my God. Seriously, though? Hi, Reese. I don't know how to get a hold of you, but this needs to be done. And I think you could do this so justice. Oh! Nicole Kidman? Come on! Writes itself. Okay. And when the day's sessions ended, they all exited the court in a synchronized dance to Robert Palmer's song Simply Irresistible. I'm fucking dead. Kachel told reporters, the hearing really felt like the art was coming to life and it was a living part of the work. Girl, incredible.
Unfortunately for Kachel, in April 2024, so just last year, the Tasmanian Civil and Administration Tribunal ruled that the Ladies' Lounge had discriminated against Lau by not allowing him entry. The museum was given 28 days to stop refusing entry to men, but instead Kachel chose to close the lounge for reform.
And then there was another twist. After questions from journalists and Picasso administration, Cashel revealed that the artworks were not actually by Picasso. She had created them herself. Oh my fucking god, that's funny as hell.
No. Some art critics were not impressed. Christopher Heathcote wrote, called the episode so childish, unprofessional, and reflects poorly on Mona. Well, John McDonald claimed it was the standard excuse used for attention-seeking sensationalism.
So funny.
But Cashel seemed to embrace the controversy as part of the artwork herself.
Is good. Cashel wasn't willing to give up, though. She filed an appeal with Tasmania's Supreme Court, arguing that her exhibit was created to highlight ongoing discrimination against women in society. Allowing men to experience rejection was actually a part of the intended experience of the artwork.
Yeah, it's important to be heard, to feel seen.
To be understood.
And guess what? In September of 2024, Cashel had a stunning victory. A judge sided with Mona's all-female legal team that the Ladies' Lounge could reopen, ruling that it promotes equal opportunity and therefore can exist under Exception 26 of the Anti-Discrimination Act.
I'm trying to figure out when I did her. We'll have to look at the Excel spreadsheet to see if there's a date on there. Do I have a date or no? It's just in order. Damn, I'm like, this was kind of like breaking. I wonder if I have a photo of her in the process. I need to start being better about documenting that shit. Cashel celebrated the victory on Instagram, writing, "It took 30 seconds to deliver the verdict. The judge's verdict demonstrates a simple truth that women are better than men. Yes, the men, understandably, are a little grumpy about this."
She's even exploring new possibilities for the space now. In an interview, she suggested it could become a toilet in a large green velvet room with butlers who serve champagne.
I love her.
To meet exemption requirements. She's also in talks with Centre Pompidou for a loan of Marcel Duchamp's legendary artwork Fountain, the famous urinal art piece.
This bad bitch just keeps getting better. That's Kershaw for you. Always finding creative ways to turn controversy into art and using art to challenge societal norms or social norms. Whether it's abandoned houses in New Orleans, invasive species cookbooks, or women-only spaces, she consistently finds and provokes conversation about important issues. And I think those are the bad bitches that continue forward.
She does it all with such flair and theatrical style. Her artwork reminds us that art isn't just about creating beautiful objects. It can be a powerful tool for highlighting inequalities and challenging the status quo.
Absolutely. Art is what speaks volumes. Sometimes words don't articulate all of the nuance in the imagery.
Yeah. And governments will co-opt your artwork and say what they want about it anyway. So don't have any mistakes of misunderstandings about that.
It's crazy how political artwork can get to the point where they will silence you indefinitely.
And then rewrite your artwork.
Try and rewrite you.
It's a tale as old as time.
Really, really crazy. Oh my God, what a fucking story. Kershaw, thank you so much for lending your lovely perspective. Oh my God, we got friends too.
I love an eclectic background.
Holy shit, sorry we've been ignoring you. Only so many screens to look at.
Yeah.
Hey, Gavin and crew, how are you guys? If you guys have not checked out our guitar professionals musical endeavors, definitely give them a shout out. What did you guys think of the story? Oh my god.
It's offline at this point.
Okay. Perfectly understandable. We've been very into our own conversation, so I like all the swearing. Oh, this, listen, that is what I do best is I have a sailor's mouth and she sings like a canary. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that we should be endorsing people keying other people's cars because that's pretty effed in general, but I don't stand with Mascolio and his inability to get his shit together. So until he dies, I don't know what else to say.
Truly.
His life would be so much better for all of his kids, I'm sure, if he was just like gone. But until then.
But yeah, who knows? It's always harsh to say that about someone.
Yeah, well, when you're a shell of a human being, like I don't know what else to say. Are you being Trump or Elon though? Because the both of them could.
Yeah, I get how this is the Trump stance, but I put my head up. That's how you know I'm moon face.
Ooh, so you
That's
remember?
The difference. Is this versus this?
Gotcha.
Trump, Elon.
I see.
Trump, Elon.
So
you
Elon
can get a whole dance out of
to
that.
Find a spirit, and Trump is looking down to feel from Satan. Dick. Well, sure. He's never going to be able to see it over the lump. So.
Right, but that's what that is.
Look down. See it wiggle.
Look down at it.
It's like a little turtle.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The guy's so confident and cocky, he loves it. It's just the thing.
Yep, you have to love yourself. And at the end of the day.
He loves himself.
Uh-huh.
There's so many things to be said about that. And he is.
Maybe men need to love themselves less. I don't know what to say.
Men need to learn to love themselves differently. We talk about this, right? It's toxic masculinity. There are certain things that are hyper emphasized in our culture, and there are super things that are not emphasized. Agreed. And there's a balance that's missing.
Yeah, it's almost like they don't want us to be functional human beings at the end of it. Did you see that masturbating as like a man basically produces prolactin and like man boobies and major estrogen?
No.
Yep. So when you're really incellular and just like fapping it away, you're cover of night, you are just actively becoming the woman you very clearly want to be.
Gives another meaning to the phrase goon squad in this bitch. Let me hear you holler goon squad in this bitch.
So many things to say. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, don't know.
Your hormones are everything and speak so loudly about you, whether you want them to or not.
I guess it does.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been told.
It's about having good energy inside it out. What are we looking for karmically here in this world other than to be better than the next day? I don't know.
That's all you can do is try. I mean, every morning you get to be born again. You die every night when you fall asleep. That's what they say.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Where we go on the in-between kind of depends on how locked into the lucid you are.
Everything's just black and then I wake up. That's how I dream.
What do you think, Ruby Doo?
I don't. Ugh. You calling it?
Seems like it's calling itself. Shall we wrap up? Anything else you want to touch base on before we call it for the week?
Yeah, I guess I'll call back to the fact that Trump's administration has said that, don't worry, guys, Elon is on the way out. So hopefully that is actually true. But then someone's got to go after those DOD budgets.
Yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day,
he was kind of biased.
It's your fucking circus and you have no control over it. What are you actually doing? I don't think you're doing anything of value. You just like the idea of the term president and you're like every chief so-and-so that has all the tenure and none of the skill set to fucking do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, go ahead.
I was gonna say you're letting Israel go full scale ground invasion, not just in
You
Gaza,
fucking did a
but West
promo
Bank.
video of Gaza. You gross ass, disgusting, human, vile piece of garbage. You painted the city of gold. You are literally the idolatry of like every antichrist fucking conversation that we are like warmed about. I don't know how you can see it any different. Grow the fuck up, wake the fuck up, or just.
Can we talk about the other Antichrist for a second? Not Elon, Sam
Which
Altman.
one? Sure.
Last week, he released Ghibli Studios animation ripoff via ChatGPT, where everyone was Ghibliifying their artwork, their pictures. Basically, then someone created a whole version of some other movie recreated in Ghibli animation style by running the individual stills of the movie through the image generator to recreate the movie in animation. Some just amazing things. Obviously, the real reason they did that is because the country of Japan said that copyrighted material is fair game and fair input for training models, which is one of the only countries internationally to do so. In Ghibli Studios, the anime production house is based in Japan. So ChatGPT and OpenAI and Microsoft had the coverage and protection basically to announce the fact of ChatGPT's new capabilities while pointing at something popular and familiar that they can rip off to maximize the reach and get people excited about it. And then a whole bunch of developers who had created like iOS apps that were basically take your photo and Ghiblify it got sued by Ghibli Studios for name infringement because it is illegal to use their trademark name in the United States to promote your access to the app. So it's this whole weird, very bizarre clusterfuck where the new developers and designers who are trying to make money off of this are getting sued because they can't sue OpenAI for OpenAI's theft and proliferation of their content in the first place. And this is all against the backdrop where Visa and I think maybe BlackRock were all talking about doing a stable coin using Sam Altman's cryptocurrency WorldCoin. And I'm just like, how are people still not connecting the dots between Sam Altman owning your digital identity with WorldCoin, connecting that to your money, and using that to feed all your data to ChatGPT? Like, how are you not? No,
they are
that?
Connecting it, and they want it to be that. BlackRock and
no. I get that the companies are connecting the dots. They've always been connecting the dots. But the thing is, I've been telling people they've been doing this for 4 years now. Why aren't other people concerned about this? Why am I the only one who seems to be caring about that?
There's so many things to be concerned about that until you are actively putting all of those crazy pieces together in one like synopsis, you're not going to understand the full breadth of it unless it's like put together like this.
It's like in 2030 when they collapse the economy and say the Federal Reserve and all the dollars in the world went bankrupt. We need to have a new bank. What do you think is going to happen? WorldCoin and World Bank Coin are going to come, step in, and Sam Altman and his technology system are going to rescue us all through the World Economic Forum Foundation.
They've been orchestrating this giant psyop to move the massive people onto this.
You will own nothing and like it. You will rent everything from us on the blockchain.
Where you are subject to what we want you to spend your money on, and if we don't like what you're doing, you get cut off in every way, shape, or form, even more so than we already do to date. You are not innocent until proven guilty in the state of, or the government of the United States of America. They will freeze your assets and any one of your family members' assets if they deem necessary or relevant, and stranglehold you out of all of your finances until you're literally like starved. And they don't give two fucks about the individual, especially when it's for a corporation like Schmamazon.
That's why the best salespeople I've ever met have boxes of money and gold buried around their properties. Like, I'm not even kidding.
I don't know even where to rectify the situation from here. If you know, you know. You have to do what you have to do.
Right.
That's all.
We all have to live in the day-to-day system we live in, obviously, but people should be more aware that there are emerging technologies where
if you are not your skill set.
Sure. Absolutely.
If you can't get through your day-to-day without having to like operate on limited resources and like the things that you can do to get through, figure it out, because we're all gonna have to.
Assuming technology continues, you should be learning how to leverage these financial systems that are emerging, because your ability to protect yourself from hyperinflation or from hyperstagflation or from global turmoil and changes to the value of the dollar or the U.S. equities markets is going to depend on your direct access to using, financing, and working with these technologies.
If we still have an internet to like exist.
That is the foundational principle. If not, gold and silver rule. And it's really more you can silver.
Just hit people with it, and it's really hard to do that. So I'm just like, your skills,
silver.
If you're a potter, if you're able to grow like food, and if you're able to like exist in a food, shelter, water state, and then like we're gonna get back to trading, honestly.
Right, and do you know the medium
making clothes?
The medium of exchange in the barter system? It's silver.
Yeah, I hear you, but even still, like nobody has access to those things. So it's like, I have 5 shirts and I make beef tallow soap. I will trade you 20 soaps for like 5 shirts. I understand that it doesn't like logistically work out.
No. Very quickly,
we become more sustainable.
Very quickly, people adopt precious metal standards.
Sure,
you start melting
down. We do shells. Like no.
Immediately, we would start melting down the valuable metals available around our house and property.
Yeah, people it's like copper is literally being taken out of all of these sites. And fucking dumbass Tesla. Well, when you glue your panels together, I suppose that's what happens.
Right. So again, the context here is that it is very lucrative for homeless people and poor people in a lot of places where these Tesla charging stations are being installed to cut off the Tesla charging cords and steal them for the copper inside.
I think that is...
You get about $70 to $80 a cord.
For the Tesla owners that show up on the last remnants of their, what is energy that they were expecting, only to find no chargers available to them because they're cut up. That being said, that really sucks, and I understand that this is tight circumstances, so do what you gotta do.
Absolutely.
I'm not endorsing it, but I can understand where people are coming from.
Yeah.
It's an eyesore. They're also, you take 2 hours to fucking sit there and charge. There is no supercharge. Like, you can say there is, but there's no fucking supercharge.
Yeah.
If it's not the Chinese L7 whatever video or like thing, I don't want it.
I don't care. I'm like, if it's not a 5-minute refuel, it doesn't compete with gas.
It's that, exactly that. Like, nobody has 2 hours. No one has 25 minutes to fucking waste sitting to energetically get an extra 40 minutes.
I'll put it this way. I switched to all electric lawn care equipment a few years ago. And one of the most infuriating parts of my experience, which is partially why I will not get an electric vehicle, is that halfway through mowing my lawn, I sometimes have to wait an hour or two to finish having the battery charged so that I have enough of charge to finish the lawn.
It's not a large lawn. It is under a quarter of an acre. It like not even close. Like it is the most like.
If the battery's fully charged, it'll be fine. But if it's a halfway charge, I'm gonna have to stop halfway and charge again.
Ish. But I'm also like, if the grass is overgrown, like it is literally a 2-time mow, and you know how long it takes to charge a battery. When you're working on the job, you have extra ones for a fucking reason. And nobody's gonna have extra battery of that because they're expensive as hell.
So.
Yeah. Oh man, you know.
It's so distractive to mine to create the metals needed for the batteries in the first place.
Not even to mention all of that, but yeah, the green energy that you get from fucking energy electric
killing
vehicles
people and is some of the most toxic mining that exists on this planet.
Isn't actually green because the batteries take so much energy to create that it is literally less effective. And I get back to, we can just close out with this ideal car from China because $54,000 you can basically have a way better version of a Tesla.
If this car came to America, Tesla would be cooked. This competes against a Model Y. It's electric, but if I don't have time to charge, I can put gas in here and that'll power my generator under the hood to give me over 700 miles of range. You also get air suspension and LiDAR for self-driving. And to let others know it's driving itself, the side lights will turn blue.
Is it actual self-driving or is it Muscolio's self-driving where he just has employees from India driving for you? Because LOL. Thank you, Joe Rogan Podcast, for sharing that.
Pretty cool. Inside, you get pillows in your headrest, heated and ventilated seats that also massage you. My passenger screen also works super fast. My driver display works super fast. I get 2 wireless charging pads with a fan to cool off my phone. Storage space in there, more storage space under here. I get a driving display on my steering wheel, and my head-up display shows me my blind spots. You also get a built-in camera to take pictures, and it can even do it just of the rear passengers. If I push this button, that'll turn on my lights for a better quality photo. And because it has built-in AI, I can just point at something and it knows what I'm talking about. Guanbi, zhuge.
I'll learn Chinese for this.
Even if you're 6 feet tall and scoot the seat all the way back, you still have plenty of space in the rear for a car seat. And to make sure you don't wake your kids, it has soft close.
Converter.
If your kids are older, they can enjoy heated and ventilated seats that can recline and massage you. I have a built-in footrest right down here. I have a built-in cooler that can also double to keep food hot. And because kids always lose a remote, I just use my hand.
That's
But don't
wild.
forget about the parents.
Bro, are you shitting me? You can literally lay down.
Really long items. You can do that too. It even has a Sentry mode to monitor your car.
Just like a
Insane.
Did I mention how quiet this
In
is?
the membrane. God bless. Okay, Forest Auto Reviews official. Forrest Jones, thank you so much for sharing the Li Auto L7. China, I would love if we could figure this out. I'll pay the tariffs for you for this situation. That's incredible. Well done.
And American car manufacturers, this is the standard.
That's the goal.
Rise to meet it, because
if you
otherwise,
can't make it for 54K, then fuck you.
Yeah, and also fuck off, because like at the same point, like this is what you should have been doing for the last 50 years.
Yep.
Is competing with the market.
Instead, yes. Sorry, keep going. I'm like, your Motor City is so right, because Ford tried to pay their employees like a good salary, and what was it? GMC comes through and it's just like, nope.
It was Dodge.
Oh, sorry. Dodge came through and sued Ford for saying, nope, you can't do that.
You have to put shareholders' interests above that of
You can't pay people equitable amount and fucking.
Right. It was more than equitable. That was the problem. It was because they were paying the employees a surplus, because they were treating their employees well, because they were incentivizing more employees to come work at Ford, because working at Ford paid the best and made life the best.
Because
the Dodge brothers sued them because they hated it, because it was non-competitive for them.
Instead of literally just paying their fucking people more.
A cardinal.
Oh, God bless it. Literally, instead of paying their people more, they just chose to sue the corporation. And I can't believe it. Do we got our friends back? God bless it. Oh, cool. Yeah, we tried wrapping up a long time ago. We just missed hanging out with you.
We're wrapping up right now, though. So.
Yeah, holy shit. If you have any last minute like shit on what's your car of choice, what your manufacturer, I mean, my dad's a Ford dude, F-150 all the way.
Yeah, what's your American car manufacturer? And then if you like any international car manufacturer,
yeah,
give us your shout outs. I'm not sure if you're a car guy at all. You're awesome for engaging with us.
Yeah,
also. Thank
dude,
you.
my favorite supporter.
A Chevy guy. He's a Chevy guy.
Nice. All right. Glad that it wasn't a Dodge situation, because I really dodged the bullet
you
on
love
that
a Subaru?
I used to drive a Subaru.
Yeah.
I just fucking called the police on a Subaru that parked in front of my driveway. I was that bitch last night. I was not having it. I'm like, this fucking driveway has been here. You know it is. I've seen this vehicle before. So next time.
1980 Chevy Malibu. Let's bring that up.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been oh my god, we've been car fantasizing lately. You were talking about your 1970s Chevy Camaro that you want.
Forester. Foresters are great. I'm a big fan of a Forester. Nice. I like the body
classic. Oh god, that feels like the height of every 1980s cop movie. You know what I mean?
This is my this one.
Big muscle car.
That's what I want.
Looks like Bumblebee.
Yeah, from Transformers.
Sure.
Exactly. And then you said yours was the Volkswagen.
I just know it as the Thing.
It's
1974.
1974 wagon car.
Just put the Thing. Because that's.
It's called the Thing?
Yes. But it might come up from.
Oh, yeah! That's wild.
She's so cute.
That's what you want, the yellow one.
She's just like a box.
Yeah.
A tank. I want a tank.
Anyways.
This has been fun.
Okay.
Cool. Oh,
71 Camaro. Want to hear the car? You had a 71 Camaro? That's awesome.
Dude, that's really cool. Yeah, the Foresters are the better Subaru. I had the Outback version for a minute.
He's seen your car before, too.
Oh,
Yeah. The
Thing.
What is the Thing called?
I'm obsessed with it.
That's
She's
called
so
the Thing.
cute.
Anyways, that's so funny. All right, thank you.
Glad to have you back. Yeah, for sure.
This has been another episode of Weekly Mojo.
Thanks.
Your host, Madison Jessica. Thanks. I still have some text replies that I owe you. Just been another one of those weeks. I'm always behind on this.
Can't wait to get back to Chicago. We're usually driving through, but we'll.
Yeah, I shared. I took the train the last time I rode through, so it was.
There's only so much stopping you can do.
Anyways, I don't fish that much, but sure, love to go out one time. Maddie's more of a fisher than I am.
I very much enjoy a good fish, so that would be a blast and a half.
I don't think I've fished in Lake Michigan. I've only fished in Lake Huron. So.
Dude, I've never fished like we basically go up to Fort Randall all the time, so it would be cool to be able to fish on an actual what looks like a fucking ocean. Yeah. Basically is an ocean.
Yeah, it's the saltless lakes. What do they call it? Salt-free life or something. Anyways, Great Lakes has all their names for loving the water up there.
All the superiority complexes that come with the no salt life.
Every joke about home, HOME.
I'm really fucking dead though, because it's really funny because salt water is supposed to be really so good for your skin, and it's funny that white culture is basically pure. We love pure Michigan, which is basically no salt water whatsoever.
At the same time, it's just be out in nature is more what it's going for, you know, and they have to embrace the fact that it's not salt water, but they've still got beaches you might want to come check out. Okay.
It's nice not burning your nose when you're going under the water. I think that's the important factor there. Hopefully there's no deadly bacteria that gets into your systems as a result of it. I said fish porn.
He did.
I'm scared to look into that, but
no, he caught a big old fish.
Oh, nice. You know. Okay, cool.
No, you know what it means.
I was literally
Instagram
just
level,
painting caviar, and I was like, fish eggs are that. So, there's so many ways we could have taken that. My dad, oh my God, dude, we're going to end up in a group chat with my dad. I think we're ending up fishing here, Gavin, here soon.
Yeah,
if you're ever in Ozarks Lake area,
water.
we would love to.
That is the water thing. You don't want to be downriver drinking water. That is the thing.
That is very true. All right. Well, shit.
Thank you for joining us. Like, subscribe, follow for more. Shout out to our best fans, the Guitar Professionals.
Hell yeah. Go check out their work, and until next time.
This is Playhouse TV. We'll be back eventually, as we are.
When it comes.
LOL. I trust you. Peace and love to you as well.
Hell yeah. Appreciate it. We keep it cool here. We keep it kosher. Have a good one, Gavin. We'll check you later.